adding fences and column objects into library. We will use Add to Lib tool for this. It is located in Create tab, Geometry, FuturArch library section here. So on these three testing objects, I will show you how to add a column and two different types of fences. First, we have to select object, starting with this column, activate Add to Lib tool. Then we have to set proper library type. So in our case now it will be column, and I will create some new empty directory for this. So I will call it test. And now just click into viewport. So now Add to Lib is activated, and we can define some additional options. There is no subtype option for this column library, so leave it as it is. And now first option, start end. With this we will define where the column is starting, where it is ending. So now we can define start end position. Set ground defines the end. Default is correct, but we can reset it. So ground is on the bottom of the column. Next, intervals. With intervals we can again, same as window tool, we can define parts which should be fixed, which should be not. So in this case we want to fix just the y-axis. So from position here into the top, this part will be fixed and rest can be stretched. And fence axis, we can leave it as it is, because by default it is in the center. Here on the top viewport it is in the center of the column, and we will leave it as it is. So now we can add this column into library. Just name it column test. Next testing object will be this fence, simple fence object. So first I will convert it into editable mesh. It consists from these two vertical pipes and these three horizontal pipes. So first we have to select this object, then activate Add to Lib tool. Then we have to set proper library type. So in this case it will be fence, and I will create some testing folder for this object. And now clicking into viewport will activate the tool. We have 5 different options for this tool. There is no subtype option for fence tool. With start end button we can define where is the start and where is the end point of this fence object. With pattern we can define the part of the fence which should be repeated in the middle. So I will leave it a little bit. I will define this interval a little bit smaller than a start end interval, because if you have this part of this horizontal pipes, if these horizontal pipes are overlapping from the pattern interval, so they are a little bit overlapped into start interval, also into the end interval. In this case, fence tool will recognize these parts, these three horizontal pipes, and that it have to stretch them along the whole fence, so from the start to the end. Otherwise, it will repeat them together with the repeatable part, because pattern interval will define all objects which are in the pattern interval. So from this smaller interval, from this point to this point, everything inside is always repeated. So by this way we can do simpler fence, but it will work also if you leave it as a default. So start and interval will be identical with pattern interval. It will work anyway. With set ground we can redefine ground if we need to have different ground, but by default it's okay to have ground here. Fixed intervals, with these intervals we can set how geometry will be stretched. So in this case we just use the intervals along y-axis, so from position here to the top this part will be fixed, and also from position here to the bottom this part will be fixed, and here in the middle it will be stretched along y-axis, because we will be changing only height of this fence, and we want to have some parts be fixed. But it's up to you how you set the intervals, which part should be fixed and which not. It's up to you how to set it. Fence axis by default is proper. It's only if you need some special cases to change this fence axis, you can change it. So I'll rather show you how it works. So when you edit fence axis, by default you can see this red line here on the top. So you can change it, because this line now defines the line of the tool. When you're drawing with the tool, this is the line of the tool, and how this tool is aligned to the axis, fence axis, from the top view. So by default I will rather set it into the center as it was here. Okay, so now everything is set up. Just use add to shape library, add shape to lib button. So I will name it fence test 1. Okay, and now this third testing object, this fence part, I will again convert it into editable mesh, and here we can see that we have again some three horizontal pipes which should be stretched along the fence. Now we have 3 vertical pipes, and these circles are divided into half circles. Why? Because we want to have this part in the middle with these 2 half circles to be the pattern or inside part, which will be repeated, and everything on the left will be start part. This will be only used only on the start, only once, and this part on the end will be only once, also on the end of the fence. And these 3 pipes will be stretched. So now how we define it is, again we will select all object, use add to lib, set add to lib as a fence, click into viewport, and now with start end we will define start end point. With pattern tool we will define only this part from this point to this point, and by this definition everything which is inside pattern interval will be repeated in the middle. So these 2 half circles and a single horizontal pipe inside in the center, and everything which is between start point and the pattern interval, this will be the start object, and everything which is between the end point and pattern interval will be the end object. So by that way we define 3 different areas along the x-axis: start area, middle, pattern area, and end area. This middle area is repeated always, and start and end parts are placed only once. And all items which are spanning through the all areas, so these 3 pipes, these 3 horizontal pipes, they are overlapping in in start area, middle area, in end area, all these parts will be always stretched. This is how this tool works. It might look a little complicated, but it is perfect, because by this way you can define a lot of combinations of fences, and it is a very flexible way how to do any kind of fence object. So again, we can set also for this object set ground default is OK. Also fence axis will be default, and with intervals I will again set only y-axis interval, so this part will be fixed on the top and this part on the bottom will be fixed along the y-axis from up to down, and center will be stretched. I will not use intervals along the y-axis or z-axis. It's not useful in this case, but it's up to you how you set it up. So now add to shape library, saving this as a fence test2, and finally we can check our new added presets with the fence tool. So I'm going to Archviz section, activate fence tool, clear shape list, and in column library test folder column test object I will add our added column. In fence library also test folder we can add fence test1 and fence test2. Clicking into viewport, I will draw the first fence element and second fence element, and we can see them now very nicely in the viewport. So setting the column, when we are changing the height, we can see that the interval is working pretty well. Also for fence first object added, you can see intervals working great. Also second fence intervals working correctly. In the perspective viewport we can see that there is no flaw, no problem. When I drop this tool and I will convert all these fence into parts, convert editable parts, and now we can see that if I click this one part, it is stretched very nicely. These starting parts are only once on the beginning of the fence. This pattern part in the middle is repeated after the end of the fence. Here is the last one, and here is the end part on the end of the fence. And the horizontal pipes are very nice, clean, just one part, not many parts, only one big part stretched from the start to the end. Same works for the first fence. So as you can see, that way you can very nicely create procedural parametric fence object.